Welcome. You're tuned into the Living in Rhythm podcast, where we wax philosophy and experience in the art and science of living in rhythm. I'm Sister Sunday, and I came here to let my soul shine. It's a lifestyle, you know what I'm saying? My intention these days is all about coming with heart-centered projection, heart-centered vibrations, heart-centered, directly from the heart of me, directly to the heart of you. It's true. These are the days with Venus retrograde, sun blazing through the sign of Leo. We got a full moon coming up in Aquarius, which is going to be hinting to this Pluto moving into Aquarius, this golden age dawning. This time is so crucial. It's so magical. We also have the nodes, they've shifted. So I want to talk about that. The North Node being in Aries, South Node in Libra. These nodal points are so cosmic for our destiny and our alignment with our true mission, our soul's true mission. And Pluto squaring those nodes is really speaking to that. So I want to get into a little bit of how we can maximize this next 18 months to really set some major intentions for the future, to set some major goals, just like to start to, we're not even setting them anymore. We're engaging in them. It is time to move it. We want to move the energy. We want to start to practice and embody the visions, the things that we're looking to achieve in the future. We want to start to realize them now. One breath, one thought, one step, one day at a time. So we'll be getting into quite a bit of things today, but for now, let's just take a moment to find our center of gravity and tune into that heart center for a moment and really feel our own presence in this moment in time and space. So, take a deep breath. Find your center. Now, finding your center is really about being able to root into your center of gravity and feel the balance of energy above, below, to the right, to the left, the various diagonals in between. And then you start to feel that energetic range of motion through your aura, through the space that surrounds you. So as you inhale and exhale, we want to start to practice taking up more space, allowing for more room in the heart, more room in our physical structure, more room in our nervous system. These are all super important, and something I don't talk about as often as maybe I should, or maybe I will now, is how the astrology, the zodiac signs also reflect the various parts of the body. And Leo specifically represents the heart. It's ruled by the sun. It represents the heart. And so it's really powerful with Venus moving, retrograding through Leo as well. There is a focus around our heart, healing our heart, our circulation, our vibration, and our vitality, really allowing that circulation, that heart to pulse and pump its way through all the parts of our body, our physical structure, flushing and cleansing and rejuvenating our system. And then as we breathe deeply, we let that oxygenation and that air moving in and out start to facilitate more energetic movement in our magnetic energy, in our electrical energy, our nervous system. So these are all, the nervous system is related to Aquarius. So these are all related. These are all super relevant. The breath and the circulation in relationship to the nervous system. that heart-centered nature of being brave and courageous and powerful and creative, in addition to being able to accept those that are that space that surrounds us. And so part of this time with the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra at this full moon moment, what I'm really coming to this place of recognizing how the act of living in rhythm, really participating in the tuning in of ourselves and synchronizing it with the sun and the moon in relationship to where we are on Earth. These are the most powerful entities, these are the most powerful bodies that are surrounding us. Sun, moon, Earth, us. And then we have all this other stuff around us, other people, other planets, other stars. It's this within, without thing. And what I'm really starting to recognize is how potent it is, this moment in time, for us to come to terms with our own self, our own sense of self, in healing it, but also in projecting it, in engaging, in actually living and embodying it. So it's no longer enough to just conceptualize some of this stuff. We need to practice it. We need to become more powerful and strong in our own physical body, mental body, emotional body, spiritual body, because there are outside forces that are really trying to sway us, to influence, manipulate. Some are also trying to help and encourage, and we need to be able to strengthen our system enough to understand what that feedback that we're receiving from the outside world is. And so that's what this time is about. And I'm going to be getting into it a lot. There is so much astrology to talk about, especially with this full moon coming up. But the most important thing that's really showing up is I want to talk about some of the ways we can move the time and space. Look at the chart, practice this stuff, but the feedback is so personal and custom right now. And so it's important more than ever for me to offer up heart-centered projections from my insights in a really clear and foundational way, with the highest intention and prayer and wishes for you to apply this in your own way, to start to make it your own and develop your own relationship with your sun, the moon, the earth, yourself, in all of that, and in relationship to yourself, in relationship to the world. That's what this time is about. And also in doing that, as we start to learn to love and accept and appreciate ourselves and who we are and how we are in this world, where we are in this world, then we can start to do the same for the world, the people around us, the world around us. Having that love and compassion for yourself gives you more access to having love and compassion for the others, people that are outside of you. And again, this is the message of the days. So first things first, I know I already started it and then I'm got on my rant, which look out, it's Leo season with this. This Aries North Node has me fired up. And so, yeah, I'm ready to go. But I know it's important. This is very important to center, to root into your center of gravity. So take a moment, and this is in your own timing, your own rhythm of breath, your own capacity of breathing, your own focus. It's yours. So make it yours, okay? In your own timing, you're going to take a few deep breaths. And as you find your own rhythm, your own inhale, expansion, and exhale, anchoring, contraction, you want to feel that grace of that ebb and flow of the wave of the in and the out. And in doing so, you use that as a support to start to root and anchor into the earth. From there, you start to expand in the oppositional direction. The opposite energy will take you up and through the space, that vertical axis. And then from there, you want to start to feel the horizontal space. That space that takes up the right and the left side of your body. The different hemispheres, the right, the left. Spread out as equally as possible. And then start to feel that space that's in front of you in relationship to the space that's behind you. And feeling the oppositional pull and force of those two directions. From there, you can visualize an X, the diagonal space, the space that comes off at an angle from that horizon. Likewise, the space that's below, feel in the different dimensions. All while breathing in your own timing. Part of this is like recognizing these oppositional forces and then yourself in the center. And I love this particularly when it comes to a full moon, because that's what full moons are about. The sun and the moon are on opposite sides of the earth. And we are on earth. And so, depending on where you are on earth, you anchor yourself into the center of the earth and you can feel the oppositional force of the sun and the moon. And how they are different, but how they shine. The moon reflects that solar energy. It's really powerful. All with the earth and you in the center, me in the center. So from there, you can really feel that expanded auric range of motion, energetic range of motion. Now come close back in for a little moment with your focus and bring yourself to your heart center. That space between, in the center of your rib cage, the center of your heart, not the physical organ of the heart, but the heart center of your spine. From there, you can start to feel and sense the heart's pulse, that rhythmic pulse of the heart making its way in its own timing. So everybody's got their own rhythm. And as you breathe, as you tune into your heart center, you can start to regulate the rhythm a little bit. Just by calming your system, feeling the space that surrounds you, yourself anchored within it, and then letting the heartbeat pulse and flush and clear and make its way. It's very, very healing. This energy is healing. And so it's a powerful way to meditate, and it's a powerful way to just anchor yourself and to come into your heart center. And from this place, I like to consider the body, the physical body, is like, it's a vehicle for my soul. It's my soul house. And so the thing is when I get centered into my heart like that, I can really tune into my extrasensory perceptions. I can feel, sense, hear, smell, taste, touch, see. You can experience the world. And that is a powerful place, because when you're there, you can get really clear about what's true, what's resonant, what's dissonant. And this is a very, very powerful place to cultivate presence and awareness in. And because when doing that, like I've said it so many times, but this is a place that I really, every time I do a session, every time I get on the mic, every time I show up to communicate with somebody, I really am working on practicing this heart-centered space so that I can listen and I can send messages from that heart-centered place. Okay, so I can receive and give from the heart to the heart. And my teacher and friend used to say this a lot, that like the teacher's message comes from the heart of the teacher to the heart of the student. And it's really true. When you're connected with somebody, when you're really connecting and relating with somebody, it's a heart-centered projection. It's a heart-centered reception. And again, this is the highest place to engage and interact with the world from. So we just want to practice it through the core calibration, heart-centered projections, heart-centered receptions. Okay? I love it. All right. So the thing I want to really preface before we get into the astrology and some of the cosmic alignments that are happening right now is that this phrase, living in rhythm, that I coined many years ago, it really, I mean, I'm not the only one, but when it really came to me to start to use this as a phrase, it came from the sense of being in the flow. I say it still. I love being in the flow. When I'm in the flow, things are, I get messages, things are in alignment. I mean, it's living in rhythm is what it is. And I've become more intentional, not just being like, oh, wow, I'm in the flow, but being more intentional about how I'm in the flow. What's happening in the flow? Can I be more intentional in my actions, in my prayers, in my perception and my reception while I'm in the flow? This is what sparked this living, an embodiment, like an action-oriented living in a rhythmic way, in tune, in harmony. And that comes from me, again, coming into my body, mind, and spirit, heart-centered, and then recognizing my environment. This is the sun, the seasons, the sun and the moon, the full moon. So it also has to do with the sun being a rhythmic being. It comes up, it rises, it sets, it rises, it sets on a very rhythmic way, in a very rhythmic way. And through that cycle, I can experience the seasons because I live in a place that changes from season to season. So that rhythm of the sun is very prevalent. And then we have the rhythm of the moon, which happens on a faster speed on that 28-day cycle. And so this rhythm of the moon is really powerful for a human being to start to recognize and understand this wave pattern of giving, receiving, of waxing and waning, of understanding how to push and how to pull, when to engage, when to be still and observe, when to surrender, when to fulfill. So it's this living in rhythm thing has taught me this. I call it cosmic sync, or I'm soul syncing with the cosmos is the way I talk about it, because it's like if I can tune in with myself, I can align with these rhythms, then I find myself in time, in a natural time. And I feel like this is one of the most powerful skill sets that we can develop for our own self-empowerment is really breaking free from some of the constructs of society. This is so much of the Pluto Capricorn thing, but really breaking free of society's constructs, also Libra South Node things, and starting to really embody myself in my own nature, in harmony with nature. My own nature in harmony with nature. And, just like an animal, just like an angel, I've been thinking so much about myself as an animal, and also how I'm like a divine creature, we're divine creatures. Every single being on this planet, the sentient beings, it's like there's life force. And when we can tune into that light and, again, come from a heart-centered projection. We can walk on the earth with our steps, each step being a reflection of our love, of our vibration, of our intention. And, I got to give a shout out to my friend Dow. She gave me this really beautiful sesh about, she calls it the sacred entourage, and it's really powerful stuff because the sacred entourage is like another way of talking about your divine angels, your guardian angels. Also makes me think of the fays, the spirit beings, the nymphs, the fairies, the pixies, the butterflies, the hummingbirds, all like, it's like next level magic. Okay. Long story short, she really reminded me of this magical aspect of how when we come with that heart-centered vibration and projection, with that love, it's just reflected right back. And it's happening on a human basis, but it's happening in the world, just like through our frequency. We can do it with the elements. We can do it with the earth, fire, air, water, the space. I connect it with the trees, with the sound, with the sky, with the sound of the birds and the space. I mean, it's just like we we have to start to become more extrasensory. That's what the Aquarian age is about. This golden dawn is about tuning ourselves and being our highest frequency, our highest reflection of ourselves. And so back to this living in rhythm thing, when we tune in that way, you find yourself living in natural time in such a way that the harmonics are there. You can find yourself being given insight into how to move forward, insight into where you've come and how to be present and like, what steps can I take? What inspiration can I draw from in this moment? When we're living in rhythm, that stuff is so much more accessible. When we're not, we have to really work to get there. And so, soul syncing with the cosmos is about embodying. It's about embodiment. It's about our presence. And I've said this before too. One of my biggest teachings that I got from my Kundalini studies was the concept of really that our presence is communicating. Our very existence, your heart beating in your body is pulsing a frequency. It's emanating a vibration into time and space. And the real question is what is that going to be? Because we have a choice. We also have a trajectory that we're on, but we get choices along that trajectory that help us maximize each moment. And by living in rhythm, we can do that. It's like surfing. We're riding the cosmic wave. We're tuned in. We're dancing with the cosmos. It's a very rhythmic and graceful thing. And that's what I want for this is as we navigate through these powerful wave cycles that we've never experienced before in our lifetime. As we navigate these wave cycles, these cosmic wave cycles, we're really wanting to ride them with presence and grace and balance. And so that's what this time is all about. Again, coming into our center of gravity, finding that heart-centered projection, opening ourselves up for heart-centered reflections, letting that giving and receiving emanate a healthy harmonic vibration in this time and space. Boom. We could do it. Okay. I told you I'm fired up, y'all. I'm fired up. Okay. So next, I want to talk about this full moon because this full moon is happening on August 1st at 12:31 p.m. Mountain Time. And this full moon, like I've said, so when we live in rhythm, we can use these astrological alignments to, get some insight into how to pull from our past to anchor in the present in order to engage the future that we're working on. And there has never been, I'm going to say this a bunch, but there has never been a more powerful moment in my lifetime from my studies. I've been studying this since I was a youth. I've been studying this since I was a little girl. It's kind of wild, but so I've been waiting my lifetime for these days of these are the days when our highest intentions and prayers, we can manifest, we can start to practice them and engage them and embody them in a way that's going to set the future. We are setting the foundation for the future, for the golden age. The Aquarian dawn is upon us. And so the actions we take now have huge ramifications, implications on generations to come, generations that came before. We can heal ourselves and step into the new future that we want to see. But it's going to take a lot of focus, commitment, and self-love and compassion. Compassion for ourselves and others. And it's going to take a couple years too. So it's not happening like this month. But it's in process. And we're laying the foundation. We're laying the seeds. So this full moon speaks to it. This full moon is happening the sun is at 9 degrees, 15 minutes Leo. And the moon is going to be at 9 degrees, 15 minutes Aquarius. So this axis of leadership and liberation, this axis of creativity and rebellion, this axis of heart and nervous system, this axis of energy and love. It's love and energy time. So this full moon on August 1st at 12:31 p.m. Mountain Time is occurring at the 9 degrees. And this is basically like we're entering into the middle phase of Leo. This is like the middle phase of engaging the sun in Leo, opposite the middle phase of Aquarius. And what that represents to me is creativity and confidence in our extrasensory wisdom and perceptions. It is time to start to really get creative and powerful with our play in our ability to tune in, our ability to sense, our ability to know truth and rights and justice, our ability to be ourselves in the crowd and allow the crowd to be themselves. This full moon is highlighting and hinting the Aquarian dawn. The Pluto, we got a touch of the Pluto in Aquarius, for a few months, a highlight. This is in 9 degrees, so it's showing us a little more depth of that Aquarian energy. It's being influenced by Jupiter. It's being influenced by the nodes, by Pluto, by Neptune. I'll post the chart so you'll be able to see it on my website and on the social as well. But basically, there's so much energy and electricity that's going on that it's just like, it feels like we're being brought back to life a little bit. It's like, okay, let's surge. Let's take this wave that's coming and charge our battery from it. And part of that is because the thing is we have there's so much work to do and so much transformation to come that still has to happen from my perspective, that I feel like it's going to take a huge amount of courage and commitment and bravery and self-love, really knowing thyself on a whole next level, so that it we become unshakable. We become like that lioness, where we become so powerful in our energy that we're unshakable. Okay, so back to this full moon. So let's talk about Leo first. Okay, so the sun being in Leo at this 9 degrees, Leo is ruled by the lion, the lioness. It's a fire sign. It's a fixed fire sign. And so fixed signs, the fixed axis is basically all about organizing and sustaining energy. So it's like we've built up some focus, some energy. We've gathered some. Now we have to really organize it, hold it, sustain it, work it. Work with what you got is what the fixed energy is about. And this creativity, this confidence, this leadership, this Raj prowess energy, this prowess that we can come with. There's precision and prowess with an organizing lioness energy from my perspective. And what I find in this that's so fascinating about this moon, particularly being at the 9th degree, it's like 9th is a harmonic number. It's the, after 9, we start again with the 10, with the 1. And so for me, it's it's coming up, it's coming to terms with, okay, now we've built the foundation. What else can we do with this? That's sort of, and so there's a time, right now, it feels like there's a huge creative surge coming where we might be inventing new things, conceptualizing things that seem outside of the box or seem like brand new inventions. And part of what I have been telling folks recently in readings and stuff is I really feel like this moment in time, the actions that we take right now are laying such a foundation that they're building blocks to new jobs, new skills, new ways of living on Earth that we can't even barely conceptualize right now. But we'll see come to be realized in the next 2 to 3, 4 years. I mean, I feel like it's a very profound time for making evolutionary jumps in our consciousness, but also in our creativity, in our ability to express ourselves and be humans on this planet. And this speaks so much to the evolution of the zodiac, to Leo, because you come from that spark of life, that will, which is in Aries. And then it starts to observe its senses. It starts to make an observation and a connection between the sensory system. And so then it manifests through the senses. It plays through the senses, experiences through the senses. And then the mind starts to gather information and data through Gemini. Gathering information and data, making concepts and ideas come through. It's sparking new ways of looking at the world, of expressing through the world, of thinking about the world. From that, we come to the Cancerian energy of feeling. We understand our emotions and our concepts of how we start to process and filter and integrate what we've conceptualized and thought about, what we've considered. That consideration brings emotional response. And that's what the Cancerian energy is about, is processing the emotions, starting to use that emotional energy to intuit, to feel more, to start to also pull away from. As we gain that awareness, the lioness prowess comes in with power, with some energy to create. It's like, well, now I've learned all this stuff. I want to do something with it. I feel powerful. I feel like I could lead the charge. I feel like I could go in with my heart, wholehearted, heart and mind. The lioness is high leadership energy. It's also very, it's organizing and it's fixed. So it's very direct and focused. Now that lioness energy, that Leo energy opposed to the Aquarian energy, is one of my favorite axes. I love all of the whole zodiac, but I really do love considering the Leo and the Aquarian axis, because it's about like leadership, but it's also about freedom. It's about being able to take that power and that wisdom and that gathering of information and understanding to create something. And then the Aquarian energy is so much of a higher minded discernment. It's coming from an abstract, very, very open-minded, open-hearted, humanitarian, life-opening way, like perspective. It's sometimes I think of the word alien when I think of Aquarius, because it is so extraordinary, extrasensory. It's looking for this ultimate freedom that it does have a rebellion to it also. So like that leadership quality, but also the ability to like it's like these leaders are not the leaders they're the leaders that actually people don't recognize as leaders, because they're so abstract and detached that it's like they're so on their own board. The lion will definitely show you. The Aquarian energy will it's not even into the show at this point. It's like beyond the show. It's so embodied in high in the extra ordinary, extra sensory perceptions that it's like, this is the energy that's cutting edge or ahead of the time, Aquarian energy is ahead of our time, but we're moving into the time. And so that's what this full moon for me is reflecting, is showing us ahead of the time. And when I think of Aquarius, which is again a fixed sign, just like Leo, its axis, it's an air sign though, so it's mental, it's thought-provoking. It's also, they call it the water bearer. It's a human carrying water, the bearing of life-giving. This is life force, water, the most precious element it's like we're made of over 70% water. The earth is over 70% water. Water is one of the most dominant elements, or, elements, but I know there's H2O, but it's one of the most dominant forces on our planet is the water. And it also rules, like it gives us life force and vitality, but it also rules our emotions. And so the humanitarian carrying the water is really powerful. It's like you have to be proper to carry you have to carry your emotions properly. And that really speaks to the nervous system. Like if your emotions are running rampant, then chances are your nervous system is on the fritz, and like there's so many layers to the nervous system stuff. But as I said before, like Aquarius, this time right now is about honing in our extrasensory perceptions, getting our physical body and our heart and circulation strong enough so that we can actually handle more energy. Yeah, we need to be able to handle more energy in this time. So that's like this full moon is showing us, like, can we get the prowess? Can we get the courage and the bravery to be heart-centered so that we can project and we can receive the energy? It's like reception and projection. So we want to be able to find our heart centered enough to have heart-centered projections and heart-centered receptions from the outside world so that we can be in tune and keep a calm nervous system, a present mind, body, spirit, so that we're living in rhythm and in alignment in order to like really maximize these times. So long story short, with this full moon, we're looking for more of this balance in ourselves, like really tuning in to the self, feeling the heartbeat, feeling the rhythm, and allowing our systems to regulate. So that I'm actually taking this full moon very physically. It's kind of interesting. It relates a little bit to my Venus practice that I'm doing for this 40-day Venus retrograde. I'll talk about it a little bit later. But, the physicality, like I'm feeling the need to be more embodied than ever. I want to be more embodied. I want to be physically present, energetically clear, so that I can use my extrasensory perceptions to give and receive information on a higher level. Because this is the other truth. Humans have more capacity. It's considered, magic or esoteric or whatever, these skill sets. But the truth is humanity has the skills to do much more than we're doing. To hear, sense, see, touch, taste, feel, way more than we're, sometimes led to believe. And I think a lot of us have been opening up to this, but I think that like, this is the time we got to practice these skills, these powers, and make them more of our everyday thing so that we want to take it up a notch. Everybody needs to come up a level. We can. I think we can with heart. Love above all. With some heart and commitment and compassion, we can. So that said, I want to talk about the nodes a little bit more, because the nodes moving into the axis of Aries and Libra, the axis of within and without, the axis of me and you. Mostly it's the axis of within and without. This is back to the living in rhythm thing. I think it's just like so profound and lovely and divine cosmic alignment that when we're in tune and we're given this opportunity to reflect on these astrological alignments, that we can see that, yes, this is a time to empower ourselves. This is a time to prepare and to come into some instinct and some willpower, to find the will and the drive to move, to go forward in ourselves, to be who we are. North Node Aries. And the South Node Libra is about letting go and shedding and rebelling. The rebelling comes from a little bit of the Aquarius, but like to really just surrender and shed the layers that are like no longer serving us, that are limiting us as far as like societal, relational connections. These things of like the other, the without, things that feel like they're inhibiting our own personal growth within need to be expanded out. So the more we take up space in our center and expand our auric range of motion, the more that gives space for that without to go do whatever it needs to do elsewhere. So that we're open enough to receive what we can and project what we don't, reject and repel what we don't need. That's the South Node Libra is going to be. I'm excited actually, but it's also freaking intense because I do feel like, there's like relationships are ending, jobs are ending, connections to, things that you find that you've maybe found meaningful in the past that are just like not as meaningful. Relationships and connections without, again, it's like if you're brave enough with this moon coming in and this Leo Venus retrograde, it's like if you're brave enough to be yourself and to love yourself, then you'll be able to be brave enough to love everybody else too. And it's like, live and let live. I'm another you. Like, do you, boo. It is seriously like, you just walk. You start walking your talk, embodying and on a higher level that like everything that doesn't need to be there falls away. And it's kind of sad. And it's also like, it's dead skin. It's like that snake losing its skin, just like, if you can allow these things, these people, these outside influences to fall away, you will find yourself driven and empowered and supported on a whole next level. Because it's like this really cool thing that happens is like, as we make space, then like there's more, everything comes in. The minute you make space, something comes in to fill the void. That's how it works. Like space is being expanded into all the time. And so as you make more room in yourself and your world, as I practice this in my life, I've seen it time and time again. I make that space, what I need comes in that's going to serve me for that moment. And then again, it's like you just keep evolving, you keep moving, living in rhythm. And so like really when we talk about these nodes, they are setting the tone for the most powerful full moons and new moons of the next 18 months or so, give or take a few months. But like the nodes are our deepest resource that we have to find our cosmic bearings. So when we're energetically grounded, physically, mind, body, spirit, anchored and centered on earth, and then we align with the nodes, what I've found in my practice, what I found in my studies is that these are the deepest resources for finding our cosmic bearings. They help us understand our past, present, and our future. It can be in this life, but also like our soul trajectory. So past lives, future lives, intentions, really moving into our cosmic bearings, finding our true heart-centered state. No pressure. No, but like what's cool is like, so the nodes specifically aren't actually even a place, like they're not a physical thing. It's a place in space and time where the sun and the moon and the earth align. So it's a space and time. That's why they're so cosmic. They're really like gateways and pathways into our cosmic bearing, like finding our cosmic bearings that take us on the trajectory towards our destiny, our like cosmic destiny, our soul destiny. It's this like from these places in space and time, from understanding these rhythms of when the sun and the moon and the earth all align with us in the center of it, heart-centered, we can actually like take evolutionary leaps. We can move forward on our evolutionary journey by honoring these nodes. They're I feel like they are one of the most important things to look at. Specifically because, like I said earlier, when it comes to living in rhythm, it's about me being centered on earth, myself, right? Yourself, centered, heart-centered in Earth where we dwell, in relationship to Earth, our environment, in relationship to the sun and the moon, our two biggest influences from Earth perspective. By aligning, when these three come into alignment in these places where the node is, that's powerful. So, I mean, sun, moon, earth, and you and me. That's what this is about. And it's so cool because, again, like the nodes, the cosmic alignments right now are really pointing all of my intention to this and to really enhancing this in my lifestyle, in my day-to-day living, and helping encourage those that I interact with to do the same just by sharing it through the pod and obviously through my sessions, but particularly just through living and being a living example, like an embodied, true living example. Because from that place, when I'm heart-centered, my vibration is going from the heart of me to the heart of you, the heart of who needs it. And if you don't need it, then you don't get it. See? That's how it works. So it's really great. The last thing I want to say about the nodes too, which I've said a lot, is that, Pluto, the planet of transformation and evolution, is squaring exact the nodes. They went in squaring at 29 degrees. Now they're at 28 degrees. All three of these, they're all at 28 degrees, squaring one another. That square is like a moment to lean in. Like we want to actually start to push forward and move into the future. It's a half moon situation. We want to start to grow the light, grow the energy, grow the intention and the mission so that we can really start to manifest and see in our lifetime, in our day-to-day, these changes. Like we want to start to build the future. Because as Pluto's in its last phases, it's going to take a little bit, but it's in its last phases of Capricorn where we're working on restructuring things. We want to reconfigure society, the world we live in, so that we can evolve as humanity. And that evolution is really being encouraged as it moves into Aquarius in the next year or so. I've been calling this time the Aquarian dawn. It's the golden age of the Aquarian dawn is coming. It's really this time of like high levels of humanity, of human experience. And I know it's hard to sense that right now from where we sit because it does feel really dark and heavy and like humanity is not in a good place. But that's the point, is by us as individuals embodying it, coming from a heart-centered place and really living in rhythm, really doing it on a day-to-day, we're setting a new beat. We're setting that new heartbeat, that new rhythm, that new foundation for others to catch up and rise up. And I feel like it's true that the more of us that do this, the more of us that are going to do this. And the more of us that do this, we will change this world. We can. Again, it takes heart, commitment, compassion, love above all. You got to have love for yourself first. That's that North Node in Aries. And have some love and compassion for the outside world and just recognize people are doing what they need to do. And if you focus on you and you make that commitment, you're going to get what you need. You're going to repel what you don't. And we can move this thing forward. Biggest, highest prayers around it. And so much love for you to do this. Like, seriously. Okay. Yeah. So, okay. I was going to talk about there is a funny thing that happens. There is a funny thing that happens with the nodes. And that I've noticed is that there's the South Node has a backslide tendency. And what you'll find is actually most people in the collective generally are going to be working North Node Taurus right now. If you're not living in rhythm, then you're basically out of time. You're out of sync. And that's okay. It's fine. You're still here. But the thing is like you're going to feel like they're late. They're actually doing North Node, and they're going to be doing North Node in Taurus, and we're going to be doing North Node Aries. And so again, you have to have some compassion for that because they might be out of beat a little bit. Not everybody can dance right away. They have to learn the steps. So there's a collective force right now that's probably just starting to kind of get in tune with the concept of tuning into their senses a little bit, starting to feel like they can manifest, and good for them. Let them play with that. Once again, work on Aries, work on the self-empowerment, willpower, instinct, drive. It's self-love, y'all. It's self-love time more than ever. And, that last thing I want to say too is, so before I close up, I just wanted to come back to this Venus retrograde thing, because Venus is in retrograde in Leo. The complete retrograde is happening in Leo for the first time in all of our lives, our lifetimes. It's a very cosmic event, but it's also really harmonizing with, it's basically been harmonizing with the sun, obviously, but also being in Leo. It's also harmonizing with Neptune, our higher love capacity. Like there's so much heart-centered energy in the chart right now. It's encouraging us to take a higher mind and come from our heart. Take a higher mind and think and express and feel with our heart. So this Venus retrograde is facilitating heart-centered values. It's facilitating creativity, confidence, light, prowess. It's facilitating all of this from a really powerful leadership place, this royal high place. But it's also, because it's in retrograde, it's reflecting back on the self with also that tenderness and compassion. It is, again, it's harmonizing. There's so much love that it's I can barely even speak it. This is the whole point. It's when you really open yourself up, there's so much energy and vitality and love available when we're open. And when we don't have a lot of stuff blocking the flow. That's why that South Node Libra is so important. It's get rid of what isn't, please clear it out. Make the room, make more room for love. Make more room for love, heart-centered values. Make room for more love and relationships of encouraging, empowering relationships. Heart-centered vibes of again, love and relationship coming from the heart of me directly to the heart of you. And from the heart of you directly to the heart of me. I mean, this is a powerful time where we become high loving, heart-centered teachers just by letting our soul shine. That the emanations from our heart being clear and pure. I mean, I'm excited. I really am. I'm excited for it. I also know that, this is going to take a little while, and it's going to take a lot of practice, a lot of commitment, like I keep saying, but heart-centered, compassionate commitment, So some of us started a 40-day practice intention. And before I go, I want to share mine. I'm basically working on this mind, body, spirit integration and really embodiment. Embodiment is basically my meditation right now. And it has been for a while, but this is my 40-day thing. It's less talk, more action. I'd like to live it more. And so I have a physical thing, I have a mental thing, I have an emotional thing. I'm just working on it on all the ways. And so, really, really doing that heart-centered work with my physical practice, with my Pilates and my yoga and my core calibration. And, just getting that heartbeat going and feeling that pulse. Also, just letting that meditation, that calm and clearness come across my mind and my emotions through a meditation, just a quiet meditation, breathing, circulating the energy, and allowing, again, that flush and that rhythmic flow of that ebb and flow to be healing and regenerating. And then, being more creative. How I'm playing with the spirit energies by being more creative. I'm definitely writing more in my journal, and I'm painting and drawing. That's my thing. On top of gardening and doing all this other creative stuff I do. But, so it's kind of a full body thing for me right now. And, so some of us started this last week. You can start it whenever you want. I mean, just start. The Venus retrograde, the intention was to really commit with this with love and compassion for 40 days. And the 40-day cycle ends on September 3rd. That's when Venus goes direct. And so we're taking this time specifically to really start to embody it, to do the work, to actually less talk, more action, act and engage in the visions, in the prayers, and the things that we would like to manifest, just moving energy that's making you feel alive and more present with yourself is one of the best things you can do to take advantage of this time. So it's not too late. Just start whenever, and definitely know that there's a lot of us doing it. So I just always find comfort. We don't have to chat and go into group or whatever. Just know there are people that are doing this, that are committed. And if I'm doing it, and then you're doing it, and then the next person's doing it, this is how we build the critical mass to really turn things over, to turn things around. So, and like, that's the thing. I feel like we're creating a new world right now. These are the golden rays coming in. Like, we're getting sprinkles of the golden dust of the new age that's coming in. The golden age of the Aquarian dawn is starting to reveal itself. And the more we engage with it and play with it and start to embody the loving light, free energy that it's giving us, the more we become living examples so that other people can see and experience that this is a possibility. This is a potential. Because when you can see someone else doing it, then you can potentially see yourself doing it. And that's a step, so be a living light be the lighthouses, as they say. It's definitely time to show your work. The universe wants you to show and prove it that you want to be here. Prove it. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so grateful for you. I have so much love and compassion for you in this time. Love yourself and have compassion for yourself as well. And just know I appreciate you very much. And I got so much love for all y'all. Thanks so much for tuning in. Blessings and love. Peace.